Hey guys, welcome to Approach the Nerd and our Yashahime Season 2, Episode 3 spoiler review. This episode entitled The Silver Scale Curse was a lot better than last week's. Not that last week's was bad, but I still felt it was kind of filler. But at least in this episode, we actually learned a little bit more on what the hell happened to the OG cast. Specifically, we got to see why Rin is suspended in animation, basically inside the Tree of Ages. Also, why Inuyasha and Kagame were put into the Black Rainbow Pearl by Sesshomaru. We still have some questions about Krimaru's endgame, but it just seems like a lot of little things. Like, we know what's going on with the Dream Butterfly. We understand what happened with Setsuna. It's all coming like into focus now. So we actually have a little bit more exposition to go on. So I'm not hating this episode. I feel like this is one of the better ones. But very, very sad. So short recap, we got the girls led by Maroha, who apparently got information from Jubei to go randomly in the woods to go find Bokusenho and the Kyokan route, because they want to be able to get a blade made that is strong enough and good enough for Toa to be able to use her demon energy through. This is a mission. This is what needs to happen. And so they're off doing their search. Of course, Jubei's information is wrong, which they learn later. But so a lot of things happened in this episode that I thought were interesting. So I want to start with Riku. So Riku shows up when Setsuna takes on these demons who basically want to challenge her because she's Sesshomaru's daughter. Even though they're like, oh, you're a half demon, but still, you're still good enough for us to challenge. And she tries to use her new Naginata, but, she hasn't mastered it yet. So, even though it's powerful, and we did see her kind of use it a little bit in the last episode, or at least the first episode of this season, she's still not as good, wielding it. She's not as good as she needs to be. So she really didn't do well against these three demons, the three demon brothers. It didn't help that one of them had a rainbow pearl in his eye. So there's that. I guess since they no longer have their rainbow pearls, and the Yukari no Tachikiri, which is what her Naginata is called, should have been formidable, even, with her being able to use her demon blood or the blood blade or whatever with it, but she's not in control. She doesn't know how to utilize it. And so Riku ends up saving her. And that scene was epic cool. Like, he has this sword earring and it turns into an actual freaking energy type sword. And it literally took out all three demons simultaneously, because Riku is very effing strong. Now, I love the banter between him and Setsuna, where he's like, I don't really care if you die, but your sister Toa will be sad and will cry. So I'm just going to save you. And I'm like, that's crazy. They're still pushing this romance. I'm not hating it. It's just, again, it came out of nowhere. As somebody who's queer, I'm used to hearing the term U-Haul relationship. For me, this is a U-Haul relationship. So just throwing it out there. But again, it is what it is. But Riku tells Setsuna that she is not strong enough to protect her sister, and so he is taking it upon himself to become her bodyguard. And what I thought was so ironic is, instead of Setsuna being like in her feelings about it and being offended, she's just like, okay, yeah, that tracks. Sure. I think you do want to help my sister. So yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm like, what? Like, okay, even though you just literally said you're in cahoots with, Korinmaru, but you said you want to be my sister's bodyguard. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, sure, why not? But he does give her a note when he vanishes, and it's basically a note showing where the real Bokusenho is, because where they were going was wrong. And the scene where they find Bokusenho, who basically Bokusenho is a Boken. I love butchering his name. I'm sorry. Bokusenho is literally a 2,000-year-old tree who doesn't seem to like humans very much. Actually, I think he called them monkeys or something. It was crazy. But what I loved about that scene is they needed to get the information on how to find, the Kyogre route. They need to find the route. And so, he doesn't want to tell them. He's actually offended. He's like, you're really just here to ask me about this. And I don't really like that. And then Maroha starts putting on the charm. She's like fangirling him. I heard that, that Sega, you were the sheep to that. And, I love your work. And, I've always wanted to meet you. Tokusai talks about you all the time and blah, blah, blah. She is like pouring it on. And so he ends up like giving them all the information that he says he wasn't going to give them. Like the fact that they're not looking for his roots. They're looking for a demon spirit tree located in Mount Masubi. Those are the roots that they need. And then he tells them that Kurimaru is terrified of it because the roots have the ability to basically take in energy and store it. He tells them, basically how to get to Mount Masubi, but he doesn't tell them that there is a powerful barrier. And that's going to be very applicable in the next episode, especially since I'm pretty sure we're going to see Leon, which is Kurimaru's daughter. We see her at the end. I'm pretty sure that's who that was pretty much asleep, or she kind of was like, it looked like she was in the same suspended state that Rin was, but I don't know. She could just be asleep. She's been up there a while, but yeah, all that's going to play into that. Plus they're going to run into Kurimaru up there. So that's going to be interesting. And speaking of him, another thing that I need to talk about with him and Riku. So Lady Zero had 4 of the rainbow pearls already collected, and then Riku shows up and gives her the rest of them. And, she basically wants to become her great demon self again. And Riku's like, yeah, once you do this, you can start the degenerate age. Yeah, you can even take on Sesshomaru and probably kill him. You'd be great. And she's like, no, I just want to kill his children, his twins. And I'm like, she bitter. She's bitter. Toga did not choose her. She's bitter. So that's what all that is. It is jealousy. But Riku was kind of like exasperated. He's like, oh, okay, we're doing that again. And then she drops a bomb on him. And she's like, I know that, you're basically Kurimaru's horn. And then you see like a flashback of Kurimaru and Toga fighting and Toga chopping off one of his horns. And that becomes Riku, which is interesting because we always thought he was part of Kurimaru. We just didn't know in what way. When she was like talking to him and holding him, I swear it looked to me like it was this sensei in the modern times. I don't know why, it just did. But Zero said to Riku, Kurimaru, everything you see and hear, basically he sees and hear because you're part of his body. And Riku had this look on his face like, oh, like he just didn't know. So I found that interesting for a character last season who kind of boasted like he had all these secrets and he was pretty much in on everything. Now it seems like he's not. And I don't know how I feel about that. So, but it is what it is. But yeah, Kurimaru would seem shocked that, Setsuna was alive, which again, that's another interesting thing because in the season finale of season 1, he said, he actually said, I'm going to engrave your name on my heart and I'll be looking forward to meeting you again. And it seems like he already knew that Setsuna was going to be revived, but now he's like, how are you revived? How is it? Tensega's not, available. It was destroyed. Maybe it was your sister. And so he starts having this like internal conversation. He even says, maybe it's the girl Riku's interested in Togo. So even he knows. So like, it's interesting. Like everything that Riku does is not a secret to him because he sees it. And if Riku knows it, Kurimaru knows it. That is a problem. So yeah, it's interesting. But another really interesting thing that we learned is that when Zero went to start using, the rainbow pearls to put them back together, she starts seeing through the red pearl, the silver, and the gold pearl, all the memories of basically Toa, Setsuna, and Maroha because, they had the pearls. Like the girls had them in their eyes. Maroha kept it in her rouge compact, and all of their memories were infused in it, which means it was intertwined with Zero because remember the rainbow pearls are her tears. So she is angry. She's like, Sesshomaru did this shiz on purpose. And so she's mad. So I thought that was really interesting that Sesshomaru had the foresight to think that far ahead of, yeah, you did this to my woman or my wife, whatever. So I'm going to get you back in small ways. I'm going to put your rainbow pearls or the tears in my children's eyes. And then you get to experience all their memories. And I'm like, yeah, that was interesting. That was really interesting. Okay, so speaking of Rin, so Zero in her insanity, in her jealousy, in her rage, and her paranoia, approaches young Rin, and Jockin even says that Rin was 18 years old back then. So that means that she was 18 years old when the twins were born. Um, Jockin's like, oh, she was 18 years old. And then we start seeing the flashback of, Zero basically coming up to Rin, like Rin's in the middle of the field. I guess she's waiting for Sesshomaru, and she's humming and she's hoping her children are okay. And then, Zero just like approaches her and says, oh, my name is Otsuyo. And, I just hate half demon children and their human parents. And she's like, they just cause misfortune. And so she's like, I want to kill your twins because I need to prevent my brother from dying, basically because of the prophecy. She said, I could kill you, but she says, and this could be the subtitle, she says something along the lines of, but that would play into the hands of humans who seek to be loved during their short and fleeting lives. And then she basically says Izayo, basically Inuyasha's mother. And I thought that was interesting. She is so bitter over Toga choosing a human over her. It's crazy. So instead of killing Rin, she cast a silver scales curse on her, which basically her body will be covered in these silver scales and it will rot away. And then to add on to it, she tethers herself, her life force, to Rin's. So if Sesshomaru cuts Zero down to get rid of the curse, Rin's still going to die because she's attached basically to Zero. Now, I wonder if the curse works both ways too. I mean, it's like you're tethered to this life force. So isn't it fair to say that if Rin died, you still would die too? I don't know. I was just trying to figure out the logic behind this. But she's like, okay, well, if you tell me where your kids are, the twins are, basically, I will remove the curse. And, Sesshomaru is like, no, you're crazy. And Jockin's like, oh, so if I tell you where the kids are, then you'll just save Rin. And he's about to tell her. And then Rin kind of jumps him and is like, no, you do not tell them where my children are. And even tells Sesshomaru, my love for them rivals yours. I will do anything for our children, even die, basically. And so Sesshomaru is like, oh. And Zero says, well, you don't have to answer me now. You have to answer me when my brother revives. And so I'll come back and get your answer then. So she disappears and Rin's already collapsed because the curse is moving through her body. So Sesshomaru and Jockin are leaving and Jockin's like, I have a plan. We can put her in the Tree of Ages. Basically, they're trying to slow it down. So they do that. At the same time, Jockin says, so Inuyasha and Kagame are going to be a problem because they're going to go after Kurimaru, and by proxy, they're also going to try and take out Zero, and that's going to kill Rin. And that is why Sesshomaru went to Kurimaru and says, hey, do you want to kill Inuyasha? And then actually, instead of killing them, because he didn't want to kill them, he sealed them in the Black Rainbow Pearl. He did it because he wanted to stop them from killing Rin. That's essentially what it is. Instead of going to them and telling them what the hell was happening, he made the conscious choice to just seal them away from their daughter for 14 years. I don't know how I feel about that, guys. I'm just putting it out there. At the same time, Rin was still, the curse was moving through her body within the Tree of Ages. So the spirit of the Tree of Ages that's still taking Kikyo's form, said, well, you need to take one of these, basically symbiont butterflies, a dream butterflies, and attach it to someone close to her, essentially stealing their dreams and their sleep to keep her basically to stop her time. So she won't move forward in time. That means that the curse won't move forward in time. And that's when Jockin goes and finds Setsuna and basically puts the butterfly on her. And that's why she can't sleep and dream, which is very sad. But I love the fact that during the fire, when Toga gets sucked into time, Jockin's like, okay, he's like, Rin, I'm sorry. Zero found your daughters, but I promise you I'm going to go find Setsuna. I don't know where Toga is right now, but I'll find her too. And of course, the tree is like, oh, she's already gone through time. It's just matter of fact, she's in the future. I thought that was a really funny scene. So I did like that we got that exposition. I don't know. There's so much, like I said, there's so much that we've learned in this episode that I wish they had told us in season 1, because I would love to have seen the product progress that we would have made now, because it looks like the girls are actually going to go see their mother, and they're at Mount Masubi. I feel like all of the stuff is basically we're getting to the meat of the story. My worry is after next episode, we're going to start getting fillers again, because they do like to give us a lot of filler episodes or like side stories, which some of them are enjoyable. Some of them I feel like are a waste of time, just like season one. But as long as they keep to this trajectory where we keep getting bits and pieces of what's going on, because again, we still don't know what in the heck's going on with Karimaru and his daughter and any of that stuff. But I feel like we're going to get a very enjoyable season. I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot going on. Like the whole thing with Riku not knowing that Karimaru could see and hear, everything that he was doing, when he knows that he's a part of Karimaru, because they always made it feel like he knew. So, I mean, I don't understand why, if he knew he was a part of Karimaru, why he didn't realize that Karimaru could essentially live through him or see life through him. And so he really is never really, nothing he's doing is really secretive to Karimaru. So I don't know. I don't know why we didn't, that wasn't something that was established, I guess is what I'm saying. But, it is what it is. But yeah, so they're on their way to Mount Masubi. They're on their way to try and get the Hyukum root so they can try and make the blade that's going to be suitable enough for Toa, but they're going to run into Karimaru and probably see his daughter in the next episode. So I am excited for what that is going to lead to. And I do love the fact that Sesshomaru has been keeping tabs on his daughters. I don't know if it's via Jockin. Maybe Jockin's been watching the whole time. I don't know. Which begs the question why he hasn't been helping them fight earlier in season one. I don't know. But, he just happened to make like this comment. He's like, oh, I see Setsuna and the others are, heading to go find, Bokinseno. And I'm like, how do you know that? So, and then, Jockin was talking and he's like, I think they start talking about, if I remember correctly, about Setsuna mastering her Naginata, and Jockin saying, do you think that's going to happen? And then like Sesshomaru said something along the lines of, who knows? Like it was not even a big deal. Like I really like that. But yeah, I do think that we're seeing more of Sesshomaru's parental side, which I'm here for, because again, Sesshomaru is always a play it close to the chest, not let you know what I'm feeling, not letting you know that I have feelings kind of guy, unless Rin is in trouble. Rin seems to be the one person that you actually see humanity in a demon. And I think a reviewer or a subscriber on one of my reviews said something I thought was very interesting in the last episode, that this season or this series of Inuyasha or Yashahime, or I guess I could say Inuyasha spinoff, is the first time that they really felt like the demons had humanity. And I thought, you know what? That is very true. They are humanizing some of the demons. And I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. I have expectations that I really want this story to progress further through, and I'm really hoping that we get the opportunity to see, exactly what's going to happen from, the time that Rin got cursed and Inuyasha and Kagame got sealed, to how they're going to resolve all of this. And I really wonder how Inuyasha and Kagame are going to be around Sesshomaru, knowing that, yes, he was trying to save his wife, but he caused his brother and his sister-in-law to be away from their own child for 14 years, trapped inside of the Black Rainbow Pearl. There's got to be some kind of fallout from that. And I'm here for it. I'm really excited to see, how that plays out. So there's a lot to look forward to, a ton to look forward to. And then also I'm really excited to see how powerful the girls get, especially Maroha, because Maroha's not getting a special weapon, but I kind of feel like her spiritual abilities are going to be a lot stronger this season. So we'll see. We will see. But yeah, that is my spoiler review and observations for season 2, episode 3 of Yashahime. I would love to know what you think. So please leave me a comment below and let me know. And if you would like to sign up for jury duty, hit the subscribe button. If you like news next on their bell, hit the notification bell. Until next time, I can't wait for you to approach the nerd. Bye, guys.
Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it. But hey, the party doesn't have to stop now. Click on one of these videos and keep it going.